Welcome back to my channel. As you can see from the title, we are doing tips and advice for staying in student living. And when I say student living, I mean college apartments. You might recognize this outfit because I just filmed a short video on tips for living alone. It's like 5 or 6 tips, so if you guys are gonna live alone, definitely feel free to watch that video. It's just something quick and impromptu I did to help you guys. I don't like to do long drawn out videos. If you do want me to do long drawn out videos, I can, but I just don't. Subscribe. Waiting. Okay, you must subscribe right now. Okay, so tips for living in student living. So as many of you guys know, I went to a HBCU. Shout out to North Carolina A&T. If you're from Fairbanks, they say or if you're from Charlotte, they say wah. Or if you just on NCAT, you say, can I get an A-G-G-I-E? What? Okay, so now that y'all officially know that I'm an Aggie, these are tips for living in student living. So my first year of college, I lived in the lowest form of dorm you could stay in. We didn't have air. We had 40 girls to one shower. And after having that experience, I was like, you know what? I can't do this. I have to go and live off campus. So I did not sign up for housing the next year. And I ended up going to student living, which was like literally under the bridge, like 2 blocks away from school. The first thing about tips with living in student living is you always gravitate to living with your friends, but I'm not telling you not to do that, but my suggestion would be that you live with randoms. I had one random roommate, and it just so happened that, you know, we got along well, and her boyfriend was actually somebody that I knew from Charlotte, so, you know, it wasn't like a big deal. But when I moved out of my student apartment, the people that I were friends with when I moved in, we weren't friends anymore. And amongst other things, I think it really had to do with the fact that we was around each other 24/7, and that can be stressful on a relationship, a friendship. So my suggestion would be that if you're gonna move off campus, I think guys do it a little bit better living together, but girls, you know, we get in our feelings and we get emotional and we take things to the extreme sometimes. So my suggestion would be, if you're gonna live off campus and student living, that you stay with randoms, and unless you're gonna sit down and have an in-depth conversation with your friends about the expectations that you have for living together. And you know your friends. I'm sure if you ask anybody that lived with their friends when they moved out, at least 1 or 2 people weren't cool anymore. So that's the first tip. The second tip is, if you are going to stay with your friends, you need to set rules. Like, I ain't talking about, I see people on Instagram putting up notes like, please flush the toilet or please wash the dishes, but you need to set rules like you're not gonna eat my stuff. And me and my roommate's case, we got food stamps, so food really wasn't an issue. Things such as, though, clean up behind yourself, take out the trash, vacuum, don't use my detergent. If you're gonna use it, put it back. You know, those are the type of things that need to be discussed before you move in. And so those conversations are harder to have when you stay with your friends, but they are easy to have with people you don't know. Like, don't touch my stuff or it can go down. Like Young Jock. I'm not saying it's gonna go down, I'm just saying, you know, don't touch my stuff. So anyways, I think when I moved in with my friends and my roommate, I don't really even think that we set any rules. I think it was a common understanding and everyone had respect for each other. So that's another thing you should do. I think you should get a small fridge and stuff that you don't want people touching, like your Klondike bars, like your sandwich meat, like your bread, like your white crayon apple, which is like $2.39 a bottle, which is expensive if y'all just gonna be busting it down with. I ain't talking about nobody in particular, I'm just saying some stuff you might want to just keep in your room. Now, bigger stuff like your eggs and like community stuff, everybody gonna eat eggs, you could leave that in the fridge, but sometimes you might have to just break down, get you a refrigerator and put your stuff in your room so they don't touch it and they don't eat it. Okay. Don't overreact to small stuff. I know when I had roommates, what used to burn me up is that people would not wash the dishes. They wouldn't sweep. They wouldn't vacuum. Now, I'm not gonna say that they didn't do it. They didn't do it as often as me because I was anal. Like, I wipe my dressers down, I vacuum, and maybe that has to do with the fact that I have severe skin allergies and that I'm very cognizant of my environment. But like, sometimes I know I will wash dishes, load the dishwasher up, and I will come back like maybe 2 or 3 days later and the sink is full again. And my thing is, like, we buy dish detergent, so just put the dishes in the dishwasher. But whatever. Pick your battles. If you got good roommates, just wash the dishes or put them in the dishwasher. Don't really get into it with somebody over something small. Now, if it's starting to become a problem like trash or smell, then you might want to address it. But your last option should be going to your leasing office because that can cause confusion. Now, I will say, when being in college and when living in student living, you got a lot of stuff that's going on. Like, I remember at one point in my apartment, there was 9 people and a dog living with us because it was summer and some of my homeboys needed a place to stay, and then one of my homeboys had a dog. But the dog had lived there earlier that year, and I'm allergic to the dog, so I don't even know why he was living there. And then he would like run out of the apartment without a leash and stuff, and like chase people. But he wasn't a vicious dog. But anyways, I would say if you're going to live in student living, to set boundaries about the amount of people that can. You're not telling people who they can have over because they pay rent just like you pay rent, but just set expectations that like, hey, this is what I feel comfortable with. And if the person go against that, then maybe you guys can have another discussion. But 9 out of 10, they are gonna respect that. Now, we done talked about food. We done talked about, your refund check. Y'all, don't blow your refund check. Give the leasing office your 6 months rent after you buy your bundles and your little clothes and stuff. Give them people their money so you won't be looking crazy. Because I've been looking crazy when I didn't save my money and give it to them, and now they're saying that I owe. Okay. It's HBCUs. You know there are going to be parties. Y'all, if y'all gonna have parties, please, and I ask you, please, with a cherry on top, keep the locals out of the parties. Like, I specifically remember me and my 2 homegirls, we threw a party with some of our homeboys, and the party was rocking. Like, people was in there getting lit, turning up, having a good time. I don't think we was swag surfing then. I think that was like the anthem, but we wasn't doing that. But anyways, we was having a good time. This is before people were shooting in parties. And I specifically remember my homeboy, he stepped on this boy's shoe, and this boy pulled a gun out on him and was like, "What's up?" And I was just like, me and my friends was just looking like, oh my God, he's about to die. Like, he's about to get shot up. And so I was just thinking to myself, like, we're never doing this again. So my homeboy was just like, whoa, like, I didn't mean to like step on your shoe or whatever. But it's just kind of like locals, because people that's in school don't do stuff like that. So my recommendation would be, if you're gonna have parties, let's just keep it to college people and people we know. And you can look at somebody and tell if they're local, okay? Because they just do this little weird post-up thing and things like that. So I know it's real quick, I know it's real impromptu, but you got your tips for living off campus. So we're gonna get a fridge for the food we don't want people to eat. We're gonna set rules, expectations, and show respect to each other. We're not gonna throw parties and invite locals. And I don't really think I have nothing else to say, because I think that's it. Because like my roommate boyfriend, because I know that's another thing we live in student living, is that people have boyfriends and girlfriends that live in, and God forbid you get a roommate that's having a baby. I never had that happen, but I've heard horror stories. But I don't think the living boyfriend and girlfriend thing is not that bad, as long as you kind of set expectation. My roommate boyfriend was cool, and he took out, you know, when he was there, he took out the trash, and it was all good. It's all good. So he took out the trash, and it's all good. So I don't think I have any more tips, but we're gonna get through post-grad life, and if y'all in school, we're gonna get through college, we're gonna get jobs, we're gonna get money, and we're gonna make it. And like, share, and subscribe, and I will see you in my next video. Bye, glitter gang.